All right, good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to welcome you back. On va commencer notre deuxième partie de l'après-midi, dernière partie de la conférence, and we're going to do this with some lightning talks. They were really interesting this morning, as I'm sure they will be this afternoon. They will come back up back to back, in the interest of time, we will have the speakers introduce themselves, and we will have 4 presentations within the 30 minutes. So I would ask that we limit time to 7 minutes maximum. And Lorna is right here to try and help us stick to time, manage our traffic. And our first presenter is going to be Heather Alabi from NBCC. Heather, are you right there?
Thanks, Christian. So I have the pleasure today of coming and sharing with you a little bit about how NBCC is inspiring 21st century citizens to transform New Brunswick through our Robertson Institute for Community Leadership. So NBCC has a long history of, sorry, Darren? Yes. The clicker is not working. So NBCC has a long history of partnering with community organizations to complete community projects. So this is a playground in St. Andrews where many of our trade students and instructors worked to develop our students' skills while at the same time meeting a community need. So we wanted to create a signature learning experience that honored our history and challenged our students to change the future. So in October of 2014, we introduced the Robertson Institute for Community Leadership. And through this institute, we are providing leadership, team building, problem solving skills to every student in every one of NBCC's 90 programs across 6 campuses. And so now whether you are in automotive services or early childhood education, whether you're in welding or licensed practical nursing, you have an opportunity to connect with your community in a meaningful way and develop important leadership skills. So that's not good not only for our students and for the people who hire them, but it also has the opportunity to be a real force for change in our province. And that's true for 3 reasons. First of all, NBCC's purpose. Our expertise is applied learning. We are hands-on learners contributing to the socioeconomic betterment of the province. And so at the core of the Robertson Institute for Community Leadership are our community leadership courses. So last year we introduced our first. It is a requirement of all students and staff at NBCC, and it's called Support. And in this course, students engage in learning about their community. They engage in learning about service and volunteerism. They participate in a service, learning, or volunteer activity. For many, it may be the first time they've ever participated in an activity like this. And reflect on what that means for them and for their community. We look at this as being the spark, the very first opportunity that many of these people will have to connect with their communities in this way. And we hope it will become part of a lifelong commitment to changing their communities for the better. In 2016, we'll be introducing Build. This is going to take our students on a deeper learning about community, how they can contribute, all the different ways they can contribute, and what it means to be a 21st century citizen. They'll make a more sustained commitment to an organization or an initiative, and they'll demonstrate a change in themselves, their community, and the organization they committed to. Finally, with Transform, our participants will be identifying important social challenges and solutions to meet these. They'll be innovating, mobilizing others, and hopefully creating sustainable solutions. This is all possible because we have a very strong network of partners, whether it's in government or in business or community. But through the Robertson Institute for Community Leadership, we're also developing new partnerships. So that can be working with Ongoza, a new social enterprise startup here in the province that is developing an online crowd resourcing platform to match communities and the resources that they need, whether that's people or financial resources. We have new applied research expertise that will help us develop data-based best practices for community building with partners like NB-SPRN. And we have numerous community partners that we're working with throughout our communities. The final component is NBCC's reach. So 82% of New Brunswickers live in the regions that are served by NBCC. Our graduates stay and work in New Brunswick in huge numbers. Between 85 and 90% of graduates every year are working in New Brunswick. And 75% of those working in New Brunswick return to the towns they came from before they came to the college. So when you build capacity at NBCC, if you create a culture of leadership and problem solving and team building, that capacity stays here in the province to address social issues in myriad ways. So we are really looking forward to seeing how the Institute develops. We are inviting everyone to join us in transforming New Brunswick and creating real change. And I hope that we hear from many of you following this session today. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Robert Hughes. I'm the Chief Administrative Officer of the town of Stratford in Prince Edward Island, a neighboring community. My wife is from New Brunswick, so I have a bit of a claim to be here today. I want to thank the organizers for giving me a few minutes. I have probably elevate the conversation a little bit beyond New Brunswick in my talk. I'm here today to introduce you to the Global Governance Project that was conceived to address the reality that we're a global community in almost every way except the one that counts most, our governance. But first, in keeping with the spirit of the conference, I want to talk about open data and open governance. Open data is about making data freely available, preferably in a format that can be used by programmers without restrictions on the use of the data. But it also means that there's information in that data that is made available to the public. And that information can result in better decision making if there's an opportunity created to use the information as a foundation for the exchange of ideas and information among citizens, experts, legislators, and governments to improve the evidence upon which decisions are made. Open information also results in transparency, which is required to ensure that the broader public interest is paramount in government decision making. Open data is an important component of open government, which is about involving citizens in the government decision-making process and making government decisions more transparent, responsive, accountable, and effective. In the Open Government Partnership, 65 nations, including Canada, have committed to making more information available, to being more transparent and accountable, and to involving citizens in the decision-making process. The Open Government movement recognizes that government decisions are better when there's increased public participation and disclosure. Open government is accessible in our time thanks to advances in technology and connectedness. As I said at the beginning, we need to face the reality that we're a global community. Our communication, transportation, and economic networks facilitate the regional and global movement of people, goods, and money. We affect what happens elsewhere, and what happens elsewhere affects us. The impact of human activity is disrupting the Earth's natural systems. The nitrogen cycle and the carbon cycle have been altered, the oceans are being acidified, and species are going extinct. Yet, there's currently no effective way for the global community to make common global decisions on common global issues. Continuing with the current fractured global governance system, with 195 independent nations and millions of companies looking out for their own interests first, means continued war, poverty, terrorism, inequality, climate change, environmental degradation. Humanity needs to find a more effective way of making decisions globally. To respond to this need, the town of Stratford created the One Governance Foundation. The Global Governance Project is a proposal to leverage the information and communication technology at our disposal to create a better global governance model. Anchored in a governance app that's designed to codify best practices in governance, like open government, into the government decision-making process. Other best practices like strategic performance management, civil discourse, and sustainability are also incorporated into the design. It's not just global, what I'm proposing, what we're proposing. Citizens, legislators, experts, and governments can use the app to improve the governance process within each of their jurisdictions. And then because it's one app, it'll enable citizens, legislators, and governments to collaborate on decisions across jurisdictions on regional and global issues. It's the foundation of a 21st century model of governance that's required to deal with the reality that we're a global community in almost every other way. The app is intended to facilitate the sharing of data, information, and decision-making across government jurisdictions that's required to achieve global peace, harmony, and ecological balance. The town of Stratford will use the app to demonstrate its effectiveness as a vehicle for government decision-making. We've been reached out to the local community, UPEI, Holland College in Prince Edward Island, and the local development community to build the app in stages, like what was talked about earlier, just kind of continue to do beta versions and not build a big one and roll it out using open source software. The development of the app is the first step in a proposed 5-step process where it would be made available to anyone who wants to participate, leveling the playing field, be adopted by citizens and governments to facilitate the governance process within their jurisdiction, be used by citizens and governments to facilitate collaboration on decisions for regional and global issues, and lead to the adoption of a global constitution with a human rights and earth charter enforced via an independent judiciary and the rule of law. In 5 steps, we can return democracy to the people and restore honor and purpose to the role of legislators. In 5 steps, we can create an effective mechanism for solving cross-jurisdictional, increasingly global issues. In 5 steps, we can eliminate discrimination, inequality, war, and the unsustainable assault on the planet. We can save millions of lives, trillions of dollars, and the vast amount of precious resources consumed by the conflict inherent in our global governance paradigm. The only sure way to successfully govern the global community that we become is to develop a more effective method of making decisions globally. Technology makes this accessible, and the governance app is intended to be the vehicle through which we achieve it. I say intended because we need help to design and build it. It'll be a collaborative effort. It's designed to be a collaborative effort, completely transparent, using open source software where possible. What we proposed is a starting point based on our own knowledge and research and experience, but we need others to share their knowledge, research, and experience. So we believe a better world is possible with a different approach to governance. We're at the inception stage of doing something about that. We are one people living in one world. We need to speak with one voice. There's a copy of a summary of the presentation in the front table if anybody's interested in more. Thank you.
Good day, everybody. I'm going to talk about the role of the individual citizen and the community for the economic success, from the inclusiveness and cultural awareness part. My name is Julia Ramirez. I'm the population growth specialist with Ignite Fredericton. My role is work in population. I work in retention, attraction, and immigration. So I sell Fredericton practically 3 times a week. I work also with Janet Moser. She's the director of the Fredericton Intercultural Business Center. She's the director of the Business Immigrant Mentorship Program, as well as the Hive, and she's one of the members of the co-chairs of the Local Immigration Partnership Program. So what I'm going to go over today is just who we are, what is the current situation, what is the challenges and solutions, what is the role of the community, and what you can do as an individual. So the challenges that we have in this moment, who we are first. So I work with Ignite Fredericton, that is part of the 3 organizations for economic development in the region of Fredericton. Knowledge Park, Planet Hash, and Ignite Fredericton try to work in the business development and make all the business successful in the region. Janet worked with the Chamber of Commerce, that is one of the oldest Chamber of Commerce in New Brunswick, offers services to over 900 people, and works with the business immigration program, specifically in partnership with the population growth specialist. So what is the challenges that we have? Everybody has seen this before. We have seen this in this paper. The challenges that we have is that we have more deaths than births, and that's a reality. We have the challenges, but the challenges also give us opportunities. The challenges that these bring are going to be really specific for business, and it's going to affect the way that we do business. So one of the main challenges is going to be the workforce. The workforce is going to change because a lot of the boomers are coming out, and we don't have enough kids coming in. By 2027, our workforce is going to reduce 5%. We're going to lose 5% of the workforce in a region the size of Fredericton. That's a huge chunk. So what we can do, one of the solutions is immigration. Immigration has different programs. We have economic programs, we have family programs, refugees, as well as humanitarian programs. Most of them controlled under the federal government. Provincially, we control the economic and the family programs. Some of these programs are going to be the temporary foreign worker, low and high skills. We have the federal program that manages the provincial nominee programs, as well as skilled workers, international students, and refugees. So what we do for these programs specifically? Some of the roles that we have, and it's coming in. The reasons that we work with immigration is because we need the population. But additionally, it gives us access to other cultures. It keeps us with the globalization. It also gives us potential of growth. Without these immigrants, we're not going to be growing. We're going to lose population because there's no replenishment. The key for success is cultural awareness. So cultural awareness goes through their education system. The community role is help these business immigrants to integrate in the community. Some of the organizations we work with is the Business Multicultural Association, the New Brunswick Multicultural Council, as well the Hive, and all the local immigration partnership programs. We offer a lot of programs. One of the business that we work with is the Business Immigrant Stream, that is the provincial nominee program. The way that it works is people come to open a business. They have to put a deposit, and in 2 years, they have to open a business. We have a lot of issues with it. They don't develop roots. They have a low learning curve. For that, we created the Business Immigrant Mentorship Program. The Business Immigrant Mentorship Program was created with the help of the Chamber of Commerce. And it's training business immigrants in everything they need to know to open a business in Fredericton, and mentoring and creating the integrated. But that wasn't enough. So in Moncton was pilot La Roche, which now is introduced here in Fredericton, called the Hive. The idea is that business immigrants are integrated in the community, and they have a place where they go from 8 to 5 p.m. And they are part of the chamber of members, they are part of all the business communities. But that wasn't enough. We need individuals. We need your individual actions. It's not just up to the government to do this difference. It's your day-to-day actions that make the difference. We need mentors. We need people to welcome to the community. We need to go back to the community mentality. Help us create a welcoming community, because the role is not only organizations, it's your help too. And that's all I had for today. Thank you.
Bonjour, je vais vous demander de prendre les écouteurs. On va changer en français pour ceux qui ne comprennent pas le français. Merci. Je vous donne le temps, celui qui veut prendre les écouteurs. Donc, je suppose que vous comprenez tous le français. Merci beaucoup. OK, moi je vais juste vous parler pour un sujet qui est peut-être en dehors de ce que vous avez toujours l'habitude d'écouter. C'est vraiment concernant moi-même, tel que vous me voyez. Quand vous êtes entré dans la salle, vous pouvez voir que je suis minoritaire. Pas dans la langue, mais dans ce que je suis. Je suis une personne de la race noire qui vit au Nouveau-Brunswick. C'est une personne qu'on a des difficultés de trouver quand on fait un Google. Quand on va googler, chercher les personnes de la race noire du Nouveau-Brunswick, on a des difficultés de les trouver. C'est la raison de ma participation aujourd'hui. Comme vous pouvez voir, on parle des Acadiens. On ne pense pas qu'il y a des Acadiens de la race noire. On ne peut pas le trouver au Nouveau-Brunswick. Il y en a. Qui suis-je personnellement? Je m'appelle Philomène. Je suis une femme. Comme vous pouvez voir, je suis 5 fois minorité dans le Nouveau-Brunswick. Si je ne suis pas venue aujourd'hui pour parler de mon cas personnel, vous allez m'oublier. Je ne voulais pas qu'on m'oublie pour ce changement que le gouvernement veut prendre, pour cette direction que le gouvernement veut prendre. L'innovation, c'est pour nous tous. Étant une femme africaine, une femme noire, une femme immigrante, une femme francophone en situation minoritaire, je ne veux pas qu'on m'oublie. Donc, c'est la raison dont je suis venue. Alors, pour accroître la participation de tous les citoyens, le gouvernement doit élaborer des solutions avec la société, en prenant en considération les particularités de chaque peuple. Le concept des Noirs au Nouveau-Brunswick, c'est un des concepts qu'on ne parle pas. L'identité raciale, dans les données du Nouveau-Brunswick, on n'en parle pas. Alors, pour comprendre et pour que vous puissiez agir, je vais vous présenter un tout petit peu de l'histoire des Noirs au Nouveau-Brunswick. L'histoire des Noirs au Nouveau-Brunswick ne remonte pas d'aujourd'hui, c'est avant le début de la colonisation. Il y a ce qu'on appelle d'Acosta, il est considéré comme le premier Noir à avoir visité le Canada. Sa date de naissance est inconnue. Donc, avec l'information que vous allez faire, je pense que vous allez nous trouver cette date. Alors, il est d'origine africaine. Il est venu ici comme interprète. C'est lui qui a aidé les explorateurs français, qu'on appelle aujourd'hui Samuel de Champlain. Il a été l'interprète entre les peuples Micmac et les explorateurs français. Donc, il a joué un rôle très important dont les Noirs continuent à jouer au Nouveau-Brunswick. Vous allez aussi constater que l'histoire du Nouveau-Brunswick nous dit qu'il y a eu 10% des loyalistes qui ont fondé la province du Nouveau-Brunswick en 1784 étaient des races noires. Donc les Noirs n'ont pas commencé avec l'immigration. Mais alors, qu'est-ce que l'histoire nous dit encore? Il y a eu la ségrégation. La ségrégation raciale a existé pendant près de 2 siècles dans la province du Nouveau-Brunswick. Les dernières écoles qui séparaient les Noirs et les Blancs au Nouveau-Brunswick ont fermé les portes au XXe siècle. C'est une information qu'on ne trouve pas quand on Google. Alors, au début des années 50, il était encore interdit aux Noirs à Saint-Jean d'entrer dans les hôtels par la porte principale. Il fallait entrer par la porte d'en arrière. Aujourd'hui, on entre dans la même porte. Y a-t-il pas un changement? Donc, nous voulons avoir tous les données informatiques ensemble. Quand vous allez constater cette histoire, un gène, l'esclavagisme n'a pas existé loin, il a existé ici. Royal Gazelle, c'est un journal du Nouveau-Brunswick. Donc, vous pouvez voir que c'est une autre histoire. L'innovation, nous allons tous savoir ensemble. Alors, nous sommes rendus au XXe siècle, au XXIe siècle. Si aujourd'hui Mathieu d'Acosta est célébré à titre de modèle pour tous les Canadiens, les néo-brunswickois des races noires ont aidé à bâtir cette province du Nouveau-Brunswick qu'on en connaît aujourd'hui. Tour à tour, les immigrants donc que je suis, nous sommes là pour bâtir la province du Nouveau-Brunswick. Je demanderai à ce que nous ne puissions pas être oubliés dans ce pas qu'on va prendre, qu'on mette ce concept de critères de la race dans les données qu'on va avoir. Alors, pour terminer, les Nations Unies ont trouvé qu'il y a cette information manquée, pas seulement au Nouveau-Brunswick, mais partout ailleurs, l'information manquait. Donc, en décembre 2014, les Nations Unies ont proclamé la décennie qui va venir comme étant une décennie consacrée aux personnes de descendance africaine, pour remédier à tout ce qui est arrivé aux Africains qui se sont déplacés de leur pays. Donc, Au Nouveau-Brunswick, nous avons mis en place un conseil provincial des personnes d'ascendant africain dont les coordonnées sont là. Si vous voulez travailler dans cette direction, je vous demanderai de contacter le professeur Ibrahim Ouattara. Il est à l'Université de Moncton. Il est là, c'est lui qui est le président de cet organisme parapluie, afin d'arriver à travailler avec les Nations Unies pour pouvoir atteindre les objectifs de cette décennie. Donc, c'est tout ce que je voulais vous dire. Merci beaucoup.
C'est incroyable. Qu'est-ce qu'on peut apprendre quand on se réunit comme ça? Merci pour les échanges. Thank you for all these lightning talks. It's amazing what we can learn from coming together like this. We have some technical difficulties right now, so we are going to try to resolve them. And so I suggest that we try to take a little bit of stock into the things and the lessons that we've heard thus far. It shouldn't be that long for us to resolve the technical issues, at least I'm hoping. Anybody want to be in my shoes right now? No? Nobody wants to? Oh my God. So maybe I'd like to host an impromptu Q&A and have us exchange. Oh, I could do that. Yeah, that's better than printed. Maybe we could do some exchanges. Oh, this isn't touch screen, and I'm so spoiled with touch screen. I gotta use a mouse. Perhaps we could try to make this useful and have an exchange, is what I'm proposing, about some of the lessons that we would have learned throughout our conference. And I'd like to have a brave soul come to the microphone and say, if there was one thing they are walking away with, what is it? What's the one idea that struck you that you're walking away? No more. You don't have to say much more than that. But I would hope that we've been successful enough for every one of you to at least walk away with one thought. What would that thought be? Yes, sir.
So I've been drawing the whole proceedings, and the idea of Easter Island was powerful to me, but the idea that tech can't save us, but we can.
Tech can't save us, but we can. That's pretty powerful. I see another one coming. Thank you, brave souls.
My favorite line of the whole conference was to gang up on the opportunity.
Ganging up on the opportunity.
One of the things that I'm going to take away, I think, is the idea of challenging the status quo and to not be so terrified of failure, since it could be, just one of those many steps on the way to success.
Yes.
Lots of little things continuously.
Lots of little things and de-risking.
And continuously.
And continuously, lots of little things, yes, lots of little things. And we saw that in the design, didn't we? Little things and the de-risking. Great one.
I think I'd like to emphasize Mintzberg's message about the need to restore balance, and especially the power of what he described, what we normally describe as civil society, but he called the plural sector. But the need for balance.
The need for balance and the plural society. And that being brought to us by Greg Keeley, who's invested a lifetime in building the very social fabric that brings us here today. And so the university plays a very important role in doing that. And I hear that we're back online. And so, one last idea? Yes, thank you.
Thank you. The call to action that was embedded in the lightning sessions, I really appreciated that.
Yeah, so did I. Great point. All right, so let's move on. And I see that we have our, or don't we? Okay. We may not be out of the woods yet. We are. So let's try this. Hit the reset button. It was really nice to get those lessons and to capture them. And you know, last year's GovMaker conference captured a lot of what was said, also the material that was distributed. And pour le point qui a été fait tout à l'heure, quand on cherche sur Internet, on ne trouve pas nécessairement toutes les vérités. J'inviterais à ce que vous soumettiez cette vérité-là à être inscrite sur le site web de GovMaker, ce qui va faire en sorte qu'elle sera disponible pour ceux qui font des recherches sur le web. So whatever you can contribute as material as a speaker, please do so that it goes on the website and it is accessible in days and years to come.